BTS, Blackpink, Psy. These are all popular Korean artists who have impacted the Western music world. They have appeared on American award show stages, Fashion Week runways, and countless billboards. However, hundreds of active groups and hundreds more in years past will never reach the mainstream, let alone to the level of the most popular groups. This has even culminated in the term Nugudom, which stems from the Korean word for who. If a group doesn't escape Nugudom, they ultimately disband. For many years, 3 entertainment agencies in Korea were collectively known as the Big Three. This consisted of SM Entertainment, YG Entertainment, and JYP Entertainment. The artists under their labels are globally successful because of the success of their pioneer groups, and any new artists under them are almost guaranteed to follow that track as well. Also, due to the rigorous nature of the training period, it's automatically assumed that trainees who manage to debut under these companies have exceptional talent. Thus, even presently, idols in these agencies are held to higher standards by the industry and fans. However, the late 2010s saw the global success of BTS under HYBE, formerly Big Hit Entertainment. Their popularity both locally and internationally propelled HYBE to an unforeseen spotlight. The group's continued success, and thus the growth of HYBE, has allowed the company to buy over other labels. They have also begun forming divisions within the larger company, including Belief Lab and Adore, which have produced widely successful groups. As a result, many popular songs at the top of charts come from some branch of this company. They have also expanded overseas to include the American market, such as acquiring Western labels. Now, people use the term the Big Four to include HYBE. Some even go as far as to say HYBE has replaced one of the original Big Three. But this is just one extreme case of a smaller company making it big. Which brings us to our main question. In such a competitive and saturated industry, how do popular groups rise and stay on top while smaller groups stay unpopular and unknown? Today, I argue that the success of a group is connected to the types of capital they have, consistent with Pierre Bourdieu's theory on the forms of capital. According to Bourdieu, there are 4 types of capital. I claim that the most successful K-pop artists, the ones that enter the mainstream, have all types. Additionally, I will discuss how the K-pop industry itself is built around these forms of capital and how it is designed to limit who can become successful. Bourdieu originally theorized that the 4 types of capital allow some people to dominate in society while others never get the opportunity. He argued that the more capital you have, the more power you had in the social hierarchy. Additionally, the forms of capital are transformational and influence each other. One of these types is economic capital, which are financial resources. This could come in the form of the financial investment in training idols, the geographical spread of their marketing, and partnerships with global brands. It allows companies that manage idols to afford more advanced technology, to hire more staff, and to maintain their large facilities. Having economic capital opens countless doors for production, promotion, and keeping their artists at the top of the charts. Secondly, cultural capital is divided into 3 subcategories. One is embodied capital, which is the knowledge, skills, and education gained through socialization, training, and schooling. It is often internalized and is instilled at a young age. Many idols audition for companies at a young age because they understand the advantage of having more training under their belts. With an average training period of several years, their strenuous days are filled with dancing, vocal, and rap lessons, in addition to language and etiquette. Training periods can be as long as 10 years, as Jihyo of Twice, or 10 months and less, as Giselle of Vespa. This also relates directly to economic capital, as companies with more financial resources can afford well-known and experienced staff, such as famous choreographers, vocal coaches, and producers to work with their idols. Additionally, they have the financial means to hire many coaches, allowing for personalized one-on-one training to address and thus improve each trainee's weaknesses. Next, objectified cultural capital consists of physical objects in media. For example, music show culture is a large part of the Korean music industry. Artists that win one of these weekly shows receive a physical trophy. On the surface level, trophies are physical proof of an artist's success. However, as I will discuss later, a music show win is much more symbolic for a group. Stylists may also dress idols in designer and luxury goods, sometimes even altering them into something entirely new. This is also a reflection of the economic capital of a company and a way for them to flex their wealth or existing partnerships with brands. For example, in 2022, the stylist for Nayeon of Twice originally wanted to source a beach towel from Louis Vuitton's Spring and Summer 2020 collection to use in her solo debut album. Instead, they purchased 2 existing LV towels and turned them into a romper. The company had the economic capital and reputation to seek an original designer piece, let alone even afford a luxurious wardrobe for just one idol in their label. It is a show of the financial security these larger companies have. In fan culture, one way that objectified cultural capital is seen is photocard culture. It can be used as a symbol of how dedicated a fan is to a group or idol. Photocards are pictures of idols randomly included in physical albums. There are often multiple versions of a given album that differ by the inclusions inside. One inclusion is the photocard. While it is included in every album, it is randomized with different variations. For example, there may be 3 versions of an album that each come with 2 photocards. Each of these photocards comes from a set. If a group has 7 members, each with 2 unique photocards per album variety, there are potentially 42 different photocards to collect for just one music release. This does not include exclusive photocards, such as those in pre-ordered albums or those sold through certain retailers. While some people mass purchase albums to try and collect all these photocards, most people do not have that financial means to do so. Instead, they buy, sell, and trade photocards both as a way to get merchandise of their favorite idols, but also as a way to interact with other fans. Also, having older merchandise is often used as a marker of being an OG fan, especially since older releases are rarely reprinted for distribution. Lastly, institutionalized cultural capital refers to academic qualification and credentials. In the K-pop industry, this is seen through agency-backed training. There is certain prestige for idols who train and debut under the Big Three. The label name still follows them even if they end up joining and debuting under a different company. For example, because SM Entertainment has a reputation for debuting excellent vocalists, which stem from the vocal excellency of their pioneer artists, those who train under SM are automatically associated with being a good singer. Additionally, because of their image and popularity, idols become ambassadors of global brands, signing exclusive partnerships and increasing both the artist and the brand's visibility worldwide. This spans multiple industries, including fashion, technology, and cosmetics. To name a few, Samsung, Bulgari, Chanel, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Yves Saint Laurent, Dior, Prada, Ferragamo, Versace, Tiffany, Adidas, Innisfree, and even Apple. Next, social capital comes from networks and connections and the resources gained from them. Much of the Big Three's success comes from their connections to and monopoly on the music industry. SM Entertainment, for example, opened the door for Korean artists promoting in Japan, as they were the first company to promote an idol there. SM and YG are also currently partnered with Kakao Entertainment, a subsidiary of Kakao Corporation, one of the most popular mobile messaging apps in Korea. This partnership is meant to expand their global marketing initiatives. Additionally, all agencies in the Big Three have partnered with Republic Records, which is under Universal Music Group, to distribute their artists' music. They also work with Sony Music and Live Nation, which manages concert ticket sales. Their connections allow them to maximize their global reach and make their artist name better known worldwide. Their increased visibility also invites global artists to collaborate with them, therefore increasing the number of listeners. More often than not, idol groups will release a second version of a song featuring a Western artist. BTS alone has done songs with Steve Aoki, Halsey, Nicki Minaj, Sia, Usher, Justin Timberlake, Jack Harlow, and more as a group and in their solo endeavors. Other examples include Blackpink and Lady Gaga, TXT and the Jonas Brothers, NCT 127 and Jason Derulo, Psy and Snoop Dogg, Red Velvet and John Legend, and many more. The last form of cultural capital is symbolic. It is the prestige and recognition that is transformed from another form of capital. This brings us back to the concept of music shows. There are multiple weekly live shows that companies pay to send their artists to compete in. Wins are calculated on a point system that includes streams, sales, YouTube views, physical album sales, pre-voting, and expert opinion. However, the weightage of these categories differs by show. When a group has a comeback where they release new music, they promote their title track song and possibly a side track for a period of about 2 to 3 weeks on these shows. A music show win is not just a trophy for a shelf. It symbolizes the dedication of fans from the time spent streaming music videos and the money spent buying albums. It is also a reflection of how well the company marketed the release and how well received the album was by the general public. Thus, companies with greater existing capital, such as the Big Three, are almost guaranteed to win music shows when their artists are competing against those from smaller companies. For example, the Big Three have the economic capital to afford expensive styling, more widespread marketing, more lavish stages, and other financial opportunities that smaller companies simply cannot afford. Artists from the Big Three also have the institutionalized capital from the name of their label alone, making them the center of attention even if they just debuted. For example, the title of Fastest First Win belongs to Winner, who debuted in 2014 under YG Entertainment. They won their first music show just 4 days after debut. This was a culmination of not only the group's individual efforts, but also the prestige that came with their label and the existing capital the company had to promote them and network. There are many other groups who debut in the Big Three or HYBE who also follow a similar path. AKMU, ITZY, Islet, LE SSERAFIM, and TXT all come from these companies and have had their first win within 10 days of debut. Meanwhile, other groups take years to reach the same level of exposure and thus success, many disbanding without ever getting a music show win. Especially for smaller groups, music show wins open doors previously locked to them. It gives them more exposure, including invites to variety shows or offers to perform at end-of-the-year award shows. It is directly related to their popularity and the types of capital that their company has. Winning your first award signals that you have made it in the industry. That is why first wins are often so emotional for idols, especially those who have trained for years and have been in the industry for so long. Additionally, overseas award ceremonies like the Billboard Music Awards or the Grammys have a lot of prestige, even just for nominations and performances. In turn, groups and companies gain more traction worldwide, opening the possibility of brand deals and partnerships. When groups from larger companies tour in the US, it is often accompanied by American talk show appearances as well, such as performances and interviews on The Ellen Show, The Kelly Clarkson Show, Good Morning America, or late-night talk shows. Symbolic prestige is also seen in the concept of survival shows. These shows are hosted by the same networks that present music shows. It is a rigorous process of auditioning, training with each other, and then competing against each other. There is both fan input through online voting that takes place between the weekly episodes, as well as expert judges within the show. There is automatic prestige that comes with being a finalist or winner. Additionally, since the entire process is televised, the group that forms is also automatically popular. For example, the group with the second fastest music show win is X1, who formed after the survival show Produce X 101. They won in just 5 days. The exposure also brought greater attention to each member's activities after they disbanded, the symbolic prestige of winning the show following them. Additionally, the fastest girl group to get their first win is IVE, winning in 7 days. While IVE is not from a Big Three company, 2 of their members, including the first place winner, were originally in the group that resulted from the survival show Produce 48. Similar to Produce X 101, Produce 48 formed IZ*ONE and had a huge following online. Many fans heard about IVE because of these members, despite the company being smaller. Their members essentially did the marketing for them. Lastly, symbolic prestige is seen in fans through paid memberships and fan clubs. There are often big gaps between comebacks. Most times, a group will have 2 to 3 big releases, such as an album or EP, in any given year. However, fans are still able to stay connected to idols and each other in other ways, such as watching live streams or paying for exclusive content. Memberships are often accompanied by exclusive merchandise that could then be used to show how true of a fan one is. By staying current with what their favorite groups are up to between music releases, such as solo endeavors, public appearances, or acting gigs, fans feel that they are more dedicated than casual listeners. This phenomenon is similar to that observed by Marcy Cottingham in her study of Steelers fans. In her article, Interaction Ritual Theory in Sports Fans, Emotion, Symbols, and Solidarity, she describes how interaction ritual theory builds group solidarity both in and out of their designated spaces. Steelers fans, for example, showed great social cohesion both in the stadium during a game as well as in bars and while tailgating. Steelers symbols also pervade their daily life through clothing, decals, and everyday items, keeping their connection to the game and each other strong even when it is not football season. This is the same in K-pop fan culture, as fans find ways to show support for the groups even when they are not promoting new music. For example, many fans host cafe events for idol birthdays or even fundraise for a cause in the name of an idol. But outside of the forms of capital, though they are most influential, there are still other facets that can make a group successful. Commodity culture, for example, plays a big role in the marketability of groups. This commodity culture, as discussed by Isabel Molina Guzman and Angarad Valdivia in their article Brain, Brow, and Booty, Latina Iconivity in Popular Culture, is the phenomenon of cultural symbols and identities being profited off of. Their article discusses the commodification of Latina women in the US, but can also be applied to the K-pop industry. Idols, especially female idols, can be seen as a commodity. They are too often objectified and held to high beauty standards. Idols are also limited to a range of acceptable portrayals, just as Guzman and Valdivia described in their article of Latina actors being limited in their Hollywood roles. When a group changes their concept, such as from girl crush to a more mature theme, they can receive critical backlash from fans if they think that the concept doesn't fit them. There is also the risk of exploitation, especially with younger idols, where artists don't have a say in how their identities are used. Companies market the visual appeal of their idols, which also bring their authenticity into question. With such an extreme focus on visuals, it is not uncommon for idols to have plastic surgery to meet some of these beauty standards, such as rhinoplasties, jaw shaving, and double eyelid surgery. In addition to training, where their behavior and performance styles are curated to manufacture their image, how authentic can an idol or group really be? Since authenticity is not measurable, it is subjective to everyone. However, companies choose to focus on their artist's upbringing and background, including their hardships and journeys to becoming an idol. David Grazia, in his article Demystifying Authenticity, also observed this ironic relationship, stating that authenticity must be performed and staged, yet it is so often associated with hardships and struggle. While the idol persona is constructed, it is still marketed as authentic by companies. Nonetheless, fans still buy into this. I predict that as K-pop as a genre becomes more popular worldwide, the forms of capital will become less of a predictor of success. As more people become aware of the genre, they will be more inclined to look for artists other than the major ones who are on radio stations worldwide today. As such, smaller groups from lesser-known companies will get the exposure needed to develop their capital. However, just as all music is, K-pop is a cultural production. This means that the creation and distribution of K-pop is directly influenced by the industry and the current economic and social state. One facet that influences cultural production is the industry structure. As detailed by Richard Peterson and Ann Anand in their article, The Production of Culture Perspective, the commercial music industry has evolved to become several oligarchic firms that dominate by buying and building their own market divisions. This is already being seen in HYBE, which continues to buy over smaller existing companies. They will continue to do so, especially as BTS can start promoting as a group again once all members return from their mandatory military service later this year. This also includes the sounds and genres that are currently popular. The next song that goes platinum in the US will directly influence the sounds that come out of the K-pop industry. For example, the popularity of the house genre skyrocketed after the success of Justin Bieber's Sorry, and the effects of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd still influences the popularity of synth to this day. While the K-pop industry continues to evolve, there is no doubt that the forms of capital played a significant role in establishing the Big Three and maintaining their success in the present day. Additionally, the impacts of music show wins, as well as the design of these competitions, make it difficult for artists with less capital to break out into the mainstream. In the future, we may see groups from smaller companies have their time to shine as the whole genre becomes popularized. It's only a matter of time until the world sees the musical potential in this industry.